Welcome, everyone, to Props and Parlays. We're breaking down the Eagles and the Chargers on Monday Night Football. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I'm your host, Andy Lang, being joined, as always, by my fellow prop betting expert, Andrew McInnis. We're going to break down passing props, rushing props, receiving props. We're going to give you some anytime touchdowns, which it could be really difficult in this game, Andrew. I'm not sure how many touchdowns we're actually going to see. And then we're going to try and hit a same-game parlay. Maybe this is the week, Andrew. Happy Monday. How are you?
Happy Monday, Andy. I'll tell you, it's either we go for a safe one and we try and just, get on base, or we just go for a huge home run today with that. We'll find out here shortly. Feeling a little bit frustrated today because yesterday went 1-4 with player props, and that's more than I've released on a Sunday in a while. And obviously we believe in the transparency, want to shut our records out. And, the funny thing is I should be sort of happy because at least the one that I won was the 4%er. So, that's the bright side of things. Frustrating day. I sent my friends a text yesterday saying, I hope Kirk Cousins gets a flat tire on the way home because those interceptions and he was he had a completion percentage of 50% all game. That made life a bit difficult for me. But I got a few picks I like today. Don't necessarily love this game for props, but got a few that I like here.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was the exact opposite. I lost my big play and then won everything else. It's kind of weird. I never know how to feel about that. We always talk about hitting your big plays are super important, but if you lose one, you come back with a bunch of winners. It's always a nice feeling here. So, let's get into it here. Let's start with I'm going to start. There was a really funny headline. Philadelphia, God love Philadelphia. There was a headline. It's like, Eagles only missing 2 players tonight. And it's it's Lane Johnson and Jalen Carter, 2 pretty big players. But only 2 going to be missing tonight. So make sure you realize that these guys are not going to play tonight because that certainly has an effect on how I'm looking at this game. I'm coming to you first. Let's start with passing props. We got Justin Herbert. I'm going into the assumption that he's going to play. We're recording this early Monday morning, so I'm just assuming that Herbert is going to play. What do you do with passing props in this one? Ooh, Andrew's giving out all the good stuff muted.
If we have to scrap the whole video because Justin Herbert is just not playing in the game, that'd be a little bit tough to just have to record this whole video and go back on it. We're pretty confident he's going to get out there, but I'm pretty confident he's going to play it pretty safe, and they're going to play it pretty safe with him overall. So no yards, no completions for me. I'm going the under on 32.5 passing attempts for Justin Herbert. Not to mention I am confident in this running game for the Chargers. I think this is going to be one of those games where we do see a heavy run game against this Eagles defense that as of late has been giving up some numbers against the run. As far as the passing touchdowns are concerned, this one is a little bit juicy, but you know what? I think it's still worth playing. I'm going to go with the under 1.5 touchdowns for Jalen Hurts. Look, you've talked a lot about Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown score on this show, Andy. We can talk about Saquon Barkley. We talked about the running backs. I just think looking at this Chargers defense, they have not been giving up that many passing touchdowns throughout the season as a whole, but especially 2 passing touchdowns in one game. So this is definitely worth maybe a smaller bet. Use the risk button when you're betting this one. Not the best price, but maybe you can find me using this one for a same game parlay later. But I do think the under 1.5 passing touchdowns is a good one there to use. Oh, now you're muted.
Andy's muted. Christ almighty, boys. This is a crazy day here.
I didn't mute myself. All right. I'm going just
the mute fairy.
Under.
That's the mute fairy.
Listen, not even you guys. Listen. Indiana's the number 1 football team in the country.
I have the green out on my... I have the green out on my teeth, fairy, Andy. So
what is going on with you? What is
the green screen? What is going on with me? You guys can't unmute your mics. What are you talking about? What's going on?
It's terrible. I'll take Herbert under his past completions. Under in 5 straight. I'm with you, Andrew. With Hampton being back, I think this is probably going to be a heavy run attack. And also the last 3 games, Eagles 26th in pass defense, but also 4th worst in rush defense. Their rushing defense has not been there. And with Jalen Carter out, I think it's going to be a heavy dose of Hampton and Kamani Vidal. So I'll take Herbert under his completions. Also, accuracy I know it's his non-throwing hand that is that he had surgery on, but it just looks really uncomfortable. It wouldn't surprise me if accuracy might have a little bit of problems with that tonight. And I'll go back to Jalen Hurts under half an interception. He did throw one last week, but that's only 2 this season. I'm a little worried about it because the Chargers have been pretty good. They have 11 interceptions this entire season, but Hurts normally does not throw interceptions. So when he throws one, I like to come back and play him not to throw one. So Herbert under his completions, Hurts under interceptions. Let's move to rushing props. Philly 4th worst, Chargers 10th best. So we've got some rush defenses kind of going in opposite directions. What are you doing with rushing props?
Andy, I don't bet these a lot, but I do think this could be a good opportunity for the Amari and Hampton over on rushing plus receiving. If you want to get that extra kicker, just because of how weak against running backs this Eagles team has been in the receiving department, but I also do think it's going to be a heavy run game as well. They have been very poor against the run, especially as of late, as I mentioned earlier. So I'm seeing that at 50 or 60 and a half, 59 and a half. You can get a pretty good number as well if you shop around over on rushing plus receiving yards. And I'll tell you what, looking at Jalen Hurts on his rushing attempts, I'm actually willing to go under on this one here. And I'll tell you why. I think they're actually going to be able to pass the ball tonight against this Chargers team. I feel like they're going to spread things out a little bit. I think Saquon's going to get a heavy workload. You know, a lot of this does depend on the tush push, and it does depend on how many ones they have. But I'm seeing what's the number? 7.5. You can get 8.5 at minus money. I always prefer the plus money. So plus 105 under 7.5 rushing attempts for Jalen Hurts. Kind of a risky business play here, but I'm just putting a lot of faith in Saquon being used and just a kind of a heavier passing game tonight for this Eagles team.
I'm with you that I think both teams are going to try to establish a run. I'm going to go back to Kimani Vidal over 35.5. I know Hampton is back, but I just don't think they're going to just say, "See ya, Vidal, you're gone." He's been explosive. He's had some really good plays. He's kind of alternated big games and not big games, but he did have 126 rushing last week, and he's a pretty explosive back. He's going to come in and spell Hampton. And I think they trust him. I think Harbaugh and the staff really trust him. So I think this number is a really, really big overreaction to Hampton being back. I'm going to go Saquon Barkley under 70.5 rushing. It just hasn't been there for him this year. He's only gone over this total twice this season, 56 and 22 of the last 2 weeks. Chargers 13th in rushing yards allowed, 10th best in the last 3 games. So their rush defense is getting better. And I just think his attempts and production are going to be pretty limited tonight. We're going to go over receiving yards, anytime touchdown, and same game parlays. But Andrew, tell everyone what you have up on this Monday over at WagerTalk.
Yeah, Andy, as I mentioned, look, yesterday was 1-4 with the player props, but we did hit the big one on Patrick Mahomes rushing yards over. That was a nice hit on Sunday Night Football, 4% play. So the long-term record did take a hit, but the good news is we improved the best bet record. We are now on an 8-2 run with NFL best bet props. That's what I have going tonight. 4% best bet player prop, WagerTalk.com, and 2 NHL plays, 1 side and 1 total up at wt.buzz/am. Like I said, Andy, not too happy with the results yesterday, but hopefully we can keep it going and hit the big one again tonight.
I'm looking to extend this primetime run. We hit one on Thursday. That moves us to 24-12. Did not have any plays in primetime games, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So we're just going to keep hammering away on these primetime games. One best bet that is up tonight really, really stood out. Love the spot. So we're looking to make this primetime run 25-12. Again, I don't know why primetime games have been so successful, but I'm not going to argue it. So 24-12 on NFL primetime games. Looking to close out a nice week here for props tonight. Let's move to receiving. I'll get us started. Andrew, I'm going Dallas Goedert under 3.5 receptions. He really hasn't been that involved recently. 2 receptions in each of the last 3 games, and we've got some accuracy problems from Hurts when he's been targeting Goedert. Goedert has 11 targets and only 6 catches in these games. So the accuracy hasn't been there, and the Chargers, they give up less than 4 catches per game to tight end. So I'm looking at Goedert under his receptions total tonight. I'll look at Ladd McConkey under 4.5 receptions. He's gone under in 4 straight, but he's landing right on 4. And again, if I like Herbert under his pass completions, there's so many weapons in this passing offense. I think Ladd McConkey could have one of these games where it's like 4 for 68, but he comes under on his receptions total. And here's a sneaky one. Trey Harris, over 1.5 receptions. He's sneakily gone over in 6 out of the last 7 games, 18 targets in those 7 games. So he's kind of one of those forgotten targets that ends up getting wide open. So Trey Harris over 1.5 receptions is a nice little sprinkle. What do you like from receiving props?
Yeah, for me, I'm with you on that on the Ladd McConkey one. I'll go with the receiving yards. I do think I understand that, with the receptions, you're just betting on the catches itself. You don't have to worry about him catching one big long one. But right now, the targets are dropping down. They are kind of getting lower and lower and lower, but they have kind of been there a little bit. But I'm starting to see a lot of the plays that he's being targeted with are kind of more over the top, more like Mr. Reliable type of plays, not as much the downfield. So current number I'm seeing right now, 51.5. We'll go under on that one. Devontae Smith, I'm going to go over 58.5 receiving yards. Look, based on everything that I've found, he does very well against the defense like the Chargers have to offer. He's been really getting it up with his targets. And I'll tell you, this guy right now, his yards after catch is extremely high over the past few weeks. Like, you can give this guy a 10, 15-yard pass, and he can make something out of it. That's really what you need with a number like 56.5. And I will say, when you look at a guy like Jahan Dotson at 7.5, I feel like he could be someone involved. And you know what? All it takes is one catch, and he's kind of my sleeper for tonight. If I think Hurts is going to be throwing the ball a little bit, I do think that he could be someone that gets involved. And I just love players like that with a number at 7.5, Andy, because I'm pretty much betting over a half a reception. If he gets 2, we cash that ticket.
I'm so jealous of you. I looked at that one and then I didn't. I weenied out. And yes, you're 100% right. I love those props where it's one catch. He can go 1 for 9, complete non-factor in the game, and yet somehow you're sitting there holding a winning ticket. So proud of you for that one, Andrew. It's a really good one.
That was the Kyle Juszczyk in the Super Bowl. Like, I remember everybody was on it. Like, one catch. It was like the first play of the game or something like that, and we all cashed.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting. Last Super Bowl, I only had like 1 or 2 bets, and it was like the most enjoyable Super Bowl I've had. Like, there was no stress. I wasn't like. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I think that's going to be my hot take is going to be don't have too many bets on the Super Bowl. And I know we work for a gambling company, but I'm telling you, I thoroughly enjoyed watching the Super Bowl with only a couple bets as opposed to, firing off a million bets.
Betting websites definitely love the week off between the game. Like, that people are just staring at the screen like, oh yeah, that one looks pretty good. If the Super Bowl was tomorrow, are you making that many bets, or is it only because the game is in 2 weeks that you have that many picks lined up, right?
Exactly, and there's so many of them that you're like, oh, I'll talk myself into that one. I'll talk myself into that one, and you're like, oh my god, I have 30 bets to track. All right, let's do this
game.
Second catch, third catch, fourth drive. All right, let's do anytime touchdowns. This is difficult. These Eagles games have been fairly low scoring. I'll throw out Quentin Johnston at plus 180. He seems to be a reliable target inside the red zone for Herbert. And I'll go back to Jalen Hurts, even money to get a rushing touchdown. He didn't have one last week. I know his over-under for rushing touchdowns was 12.5 this year, and he's only sitting on 8. So I'm kind of looking at this number going, it's about time for him to rip off a few of them. And as we know, they get in the 3-yard line, 2-yard line. It's just tush push. So Quentin Johnston at plus 180, Jalen Hurts, even money. But I got to tell you, I'm going to find it really hard to actually bet any of these with money because this has low-scoring game written all over it. What do you think about anytime touchdowns?
And the thing is, with low-scoring game written all over it, it kind of means that, like, if there is going to be a touchdown, it's going to be like a nice throw was made, not like a goal line touchdown, which kind of makes me worried. But I do like that under 1.5 passing touchdowns. It is heavily juiced, which indicates, kind of what I'm saying here. It's going to be just rushing touchdowns, and that's it. You're saying Hurts. I'm saying Barkley. Let's hope they both can get it. There's definitely worlds we live in where these guys, multiple times we've seen them both get a touchdown in the same game. I would not be shocked. How about Hampton plus 170? Would not mind getting that one as well. I think whether it could be a receiving or rushing, he could get himself a touchdown. And then, hey, if I'm going to like Smith to have a great game through the air, I might as well take a look at it. My number right now is plus 240. I just like that number. Again, if we're expecting a lot of, rushing attempts and overall, I mean, I think that we're going to see both running backs have success at the goal line. But, if he does catch a deep ball, plus 240 is not too bad. So, this could be a kind of a funny night, Andy, though, if you like the under for those bets not to get a touchdown or not to do something like these guys. I'm curious, like looking at some of the odds here for some of these guys, like, because some books do offer it, like this guy to not get a touchdown or this guy to not do something. This could be a pretty good under night if we're being honest.
Yeah, I agree. I don't have him on my books, but boy, I could surely be talked into putting a couple of these guys to not score a touchdown together in some kind of parlay. So let's try and do a same game parlay. Come on, Andrew. We got to get one. We keep swinging for the fences, and then those don't hit. Then we play it safe, and we miss by one. So every week, Andrew and I each pick two legs, put it together in a same game parlay. We haven't hit one this year on Monday Night Football, so let's see if we can get it going. What is your first leg for the same game parlay?
I was literally thinking to myself, I'm like, how bold did I want to go with this one here? All right, Andy, I'm going to go. Just give me the under on Justin Herbert passing yards, whatever, like the minus 110 number you're seeing on your book. I think we're going to see a heavy run game from this Chargers team. Multiple backs involved tonight. We'll go under passing yards for Justin Herbert.
All right, I'm looking at Justin Herbert passing yards, and it's under 212.5. So we're going 212.5 under on Justin Herbert. I'm going to take the over 20.5 on the Chargers team total. It's a pretty good number here, and without Jalen Carter, I think this defense is a little bit susceptible. Chargers at home, I think they can get to 3 touchdowns, so I will take the Chargers 20.5. I know I said low scoring, but the fact is the Eagles, they can give up some points with Carter out of the lineup. So we have Justin Herbert under 212.5, and then we have the over on the Chargers 20.5 team total. What's your second leg?
Jalen Hurts under 1.5 passing touchdowns. Look, it's juicy. We need a win pretty bad here. And I think if you like Hurts to get a touchdown, I like Barkley to get a touchdown. That takes away from some passing weapons. So we'll go under 1.5 passing touchdowns.
All right, going under on that one. All right, I'm going to take a little bit of a juicy one, but I love this one. I'm going to take Jalen Hurts to have more rushing yards than Justin Herbert. I think there's no way Justin Herbert runs unless it's wide open. Then you want to talk about sliding really, really quick. I think this is throw the ball away or just try and run and get out of bounds. I don't see him taking off and running. I mean, his over-under for rushing was 18.5. That's really, really low for him. And Hurts, he's really good. He can take off. I know you like under his rush attempts, but this is a guy that when he takes off, he could easily run for 20. So I'm going to take that. I'm going to take that Jalen Hurts is going to have more rushing yards than Justin Herbert. All right, so we have under 212 Herbert passing yards, under 1.5 passing touchdowns, Jalen Hurts. We have Jalen Hurts more rushing yards than Herbert, and the Chargers over 20.5. Wrap that up, 13-1 plus 1,300 over on DraftKings. So that's going to be our same game parlay. Just need to hit this one. Just need to see one go in. That'll open the floodgates there. So there you go. There's the graphic for the same game parlay for tonight. Guys, make sure you hit the like button. Algorithm boost, it really helps it. Put something in the comments section. Put your favorite player prop tonight. Let us know what you guys are betting on tonight. Andrew, one more time. You got a 4% best bet that goes off tonight, correct?
It is a 4% best bet, 8-2 run with the best bets in the player prop markets. As mentioned yesterday, wasn't my best day, but we let it off or ended it off with a winner with 4% on Patrick Mahomes rushing yards over. And honestly, no better feeling than hitting a player prop on a team which they lost. Like they didn't look very good. They were not that great. And then it's like, you know what? Hey, Patrick Mahomes rushing yards. Like if there's anything that's going to go good for them tonight, I like the rushing yard prop. So that came through. And that's a 4%. So 8-2 run with the best bets with player props. And that's it for me. Andy, I guess we can call that prime time, but you sat out. You had a little load management for prime time last night. You're getting ready for tonight. Call you Luka Doncic, LeBron James.
Yes, I did. That's funny you say that. I did sit out, but I was watching the Lakers game. I had a bet in that game that hit. So no, I'm not going to force it. And primetime games have been like one of the bright spots of 2025 in the NFL season. 24-12 run. We pick our spots. Monday Night Football has been fantastic, so we're going to try and hit this one tonight. Just one bet, one that really, really jumped off the page for me. I've already locked this one in, so go grab that over at WagerTalk, wt.buzz/AL. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. Let's have a big Monday. Let's close out Week 14 in the NFL. Hopefully we don't have any Raiders bad beats yesterday, like kicking a meaningless field goal to cover the spread. Shout out if you were involved in that game, and hopefully you weren't holding your phone at the time. Somebody reached out to me and was like, yeah, I need a new phone and a TV after watching the end of that game. So let's have some no sweat winners tonight here. Thank you so much for watching us. Let's cash that same game parlay. Good luck on all your bets. And we'll see everyone next week on Props and Parlays. Good luck. Take care.